I lied in court. I raised my right hand. I swore to tell the truth, and then I destroyed a man's life.
He went to prison because of what I said. For 43 years, no one knew I was lying. Not the judge, not the jury, not even my wife. I told myself I had a reason, but that wasn't the truth. The truth is, I was afraid, and fear can turn an ordinary man into something else. I'm 81 years old now. The man I lied about died 5 years ago, and I never told him. That's why I'm speaking now, because some lies don't fade with time. They grow. I was 32 when it happened. Married, 2 small children, working as an accountant for a construction company. It wasn't glamorous, but it was stable, and stability was everything to me. I grew up poor. My father drank, my mother worked double shifts. All I ever wanted was safety. Predictable bills, predictable meals, predictable life. Then I met Daniel Harper. He worked in logistics. Quiet guy, sharp mind, kept mostly to himself. We weren't close, but we respected each other until the audits began. Money was missing. Not small amounts, large amounts, hundreds of thousands over several years. The company panicked. Lawyers came in, investigators. Everyone became suspicious of everyone. And then one afternoon, my supervisor called me into his office. He closed the door, sat across from me, and said, "We believe Daniel is responsible." I remember feeling relief. Relief that it wasn't me. Relief that someone else had a name attached to the problem. But then he said something else. "We need your testimony." I didn't understand. He explained that Daniel had access to certain accounts, that I had once flagged irregular paperwork connected to him, that if I testified clearly, it would secure the case. I told him I wasn't sure. He leaned forward. "You have a family," he said. "You have a mortgage. This company takes care of its own." It wasn't a threat, not directly, but it didn't need to be. The truth? The irregular paperwork wasn't proof of theft. It was sloppy accounting, something I had done too. But they needed certainty. They needed someone confident on the stand. And I was dependable, reliable, safe. So I convinced myself. I told myself Daniel probably did it. I told myself innocent people don't get investigated. I told myself I was just telling what I believed. That's how lies begin. Not dramatic, not evil, just small adjustments to the truth. The courtroom was colder than I expected. Daniel sat at the defense table. He looked thinner, tired. When our eyes met, he didn't look angry. He looked confused. That made it worse. I swore the oath, sat down, and when the prosecutor asked if I believed that Daniel had manipulated those accounts, I said yes. Clear voice, steady hands, yes. That word echoed in my ears for weeks. The verdict came 3 days later. Guilty. 8 years in federal prison. His wife cried, his mother collapsed, and I sat there telling myself it wasn't my fault, that the evidence was bigger than me, that I was just one piece. But I knew. My certainty had sealed it. Years passed. The company recovered. Promotions came, raises. We moved to a bigger house. My children grew up never knowing. And sometimes, late at night, I would see his face in that courtroom. Not angry, just confused, as if he was waiting for me to correct something, to fix a mistake. But I never did. About 10 years after the trial, I heard he was released early. Good behavior. I saw him once at a grocery store. Older, grayer. We locked eyes again. And this time he did look angry. Not loud anger, quiet anger. The kind that is settled. He walked past me without speaking. I stood there frozen, my hands shaking over a carton of milk. That was my chance, and I let it pass. 5 years ago, I read his obituary. Heart failure, 76 years old. It was a small notice, no mention of prison, just beloved father. I stared at that word, beloved, and I wondered what those 8 years had done to his children. Birthdays missed, graduations missed, conversations that never happened, all because I was afraid of losing my job, afraid of instability, afraid of speaking uncertainty in a room that demanded confidence. I don't know if he was completely innocent. That's the worst part. Maybe he was guilty of something. Maybe he wasn't. But I know this. I did not know. And I testified as if I did. That's the lie. Not a fabricated story, not fake evidence, just false certainty. And sometimes that's more dangerous. At 81 years old, you start measuring your life differently. Not by promotions, not by income, but by integrity. And when I look back, I see a man who chose comfort over courage, safety over truth, fear over honesty. And it cost someone 8 years, maybe more, because prison doesn't end when the sentence does. It lingers in reputation, in relationships, in quiet dinners where something feels missing. If I could sit in that courtroom again, I would say, I don't know. 3 simple words. I don't know. It wouldn't have saved him completely, but it would have been honest. Instead, I gave them certainty, and certainty sent him away. I'm not telling this for sympathy. There's none to give. I had a good life, stable, predictable, safe. But safe isn't always right. If you ever find yourself in a room where your words carry weight, be careful, because fear can make you sound sure, and once spoken, certainty cannot be taken back. I'm 81 years old, and I lied in court, and the man who paid for it is gone, and that silence is mine to keep.